Dear students, so far we have discussed about monohydric alcohols, their nomenclature, physical properties, methods of synthesis and their chemical properties. So today we will discuss about dihydric alcohols. So first we will learn what dihydric means, then we will discuss about their nomenclature, their methods of formation and their physical properties. So their chemical properties we will discuss in the next lecture. So as the name suggests, dihydric alcohols means those alcohols which has two hydroxy groups per molecule. Those alcohols they are called dihydric alcohols, and these are also called, the other name for this is diols, or commonly they are called glycols. So what are dihydric alcohols? Alcohols which contains two OH groups per molecule, they are called dihydric alcohols, or we can also call them diols, or they are also commonly called glycols. Basically vicinal diols, they are called glycols. Some examples are this. So this is your you can say it has two OH groups per molecule, so it is a dihydric alcohol. This is also an example of dihydric alcohol. So this is also an example of dihydric alcohol. So all these molecules, they have two OH groups per molecule, so that's why these are called dihydric alcohol. So now first we will learn how to name them. So they are named like other alcohols, so their nomenclature is exactly like alcohols, but now we have to use the suffix diol. Why di? Because we have two alcohol groups. For one alcohol we use ol, now we have two, so we will use diol. And we also have to specify the numbers there indicating their locant position, so where these hydroxy groups they are located, that also we have to tell. So let us try to using these rules, let us try to name first this compound. Now you can say we can start numbering from here, 1 2 3. So it is 3 carbon chain, so it is propane 1 2. This OH group is present at first and second carbon, 1 2 diol. So its name is propane 1 2 diol. Now let us see what will be its name. So we will start numbering from here, 1 2 3 4. So its name becomes, at 1 we have cyclohexyl group, 1 cyclohexyl. Now what is the carbon chain? 1 2 3 4, butane. Now alcohol OH groups, they are present at first and third position, 1 3 diol. So that is the name of this compound, 1 cyclohexyl butane 1 3 diol. Now its name will be, so it is a cyclopentane. So it is cyclopentane. So numbering you can start from any one. This carbon, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 diol. So 1 2 diol. So it is a one carbon, second carbon, so it is ethane 1 2 diol. So these are IUPAC name of these dihydric alcohols. The rules are same, but just now we have to use diol, and we have to indicate the position of OH groups by specifying their locant positions. So they can also be named by common names. So the term glycol, as I have mentioned, it generally means a 1 2 diol or vicinal diol. So those alcohols in which the OH group they are attached to the adjacent carbons, they are called vicinal diols. So 1 2 diol, it is also called glycol. So with its two hydroxyl groups on adjacent carbon, we can also name this compound. This will be its common name, it will be ethylene glycol. So that is its name, that is its common name. As I have said, glycol is used for vicinal diol, so it is two carbon chain, so it is ethylene glycol. Similarly here, let us apply here. Now it is a three carbon chain and it is a vicinal alcohol, so we can have a common name like sorry, it is propylene. Three carbon chain is called propylene glycol. That is its common name, that is its IUPAC name. So what it will be, cyclopentane glycol. So that will be its name. So that's how we name these diols. By either you can use a IUPAC name or you can use these common names. So for some compounds common names are popular like this. So this is commonly called ethylene glycol, but you should also know their IUPAC name. So the rules are same as we have done the naming for simple alcohols, but now we just have to use a diol, and we have to indicate the position of the OH groups to which with their locant position. So that is how you name these dihydric alcohols. Now we will see some methods by which we can synthesize these diols. The first method, which is very important method, is hydroxylation of alkenes. So first let us learn what is meant by hydroxylation of alkene. So in this there is a reaction of some alkene with osmium tetraoxide. It is also called osmic acid, or that is its another name is osmium tetraoxide. So if we react it with osmium tetraoxide in the presence of some peroxide, or we can also use sodium sulfite or sodium bisulfite, so you can use any one of these. So then we will get the product like OH. So this is called dihydroxylation. The another name also for this reaction is dihydroxylation, because two hydroxy groups they have been added to alkene, or simply it is called hydroxylation. The other agent that is used for hydroxylation of alkenes, we can also carry out the same reaction with the KMnO4, MnO4 negative. This will comes from KMnO4 in the presence of some alkali. So this reagent it comes from KMnO4 plus some alkali. This is called Bayer's reagent. Bayer's reagent. Then using this also we can carry out this hydroxylation, plus we get precipitates of MnO2 as a byproduct. So this reaction in which this alkene gets converted to a diol with the help of either osmic acid or permanganate in the presence of some base alkali, we call this reaction as hydroxylation of alkene. Basically it is a dihydroxylation, but it is commonly called hydroxylation of alkenes. And this alkaline solution of KMnO4 is called Bayer's reagent. So that is also a test for unsaturation, Bayer's test, which if some unsaturation is present, then that discharges the color of this KMnO4 and the product is diol. Now let us try to write their mechanism. So their mechanism are quite similar, both of them. Actually first let us try to do the mechanism with osmium tetroxide. C double bond. See, the mechanism of both the reagents is the same. So osmium tetroxide is something like this. The mechanism is exactly same for both the reagents. So this takes place like this. This electron goes here, this goes here, so this goes here. So that's how this reaction takes place. So basically it is a concerted mechanism. It is a concerted mechanism and it is a single step mechanism. So what we get we get C O O osmium double bond O double bond O. So this is called osmic ester. So we get osmic ester or osmate ester, we can call it osmate ester. Some ester is obtained. Now if we react it with some suppose hydrogen peroxide, or you can also use, I have said, as I have already told you, sodium bisulfite or sodium sulfite, then you get this our desired product, which is OHCOH. So that is the product of the reaction. So that is the overall reaction, plus osmium tetroxide is regenerated. So that is the mechanism of reaction with osmic ester. And you can see that this OH group has been added on the same phase of the double bond. So it is a syn hydroxylation. So this is called syn hydroxylation of alkane. So we can also call it syn hydroxylation because both the OH groups they add on same face of this C double bond C. So this is called syn hydroxylation reaction. It is a stereospecific reaction, so it is syn hydroxylation. The addition takes place in a syn fashion. The mechanism for permanganate and OH negative is exactly same, but first let us try to see their stereochemistry. Suppose we have to react this cyclopentene uh, if we have to react it with osmium tetroxide and your hydrogen peroxide, as you can see this O, both the O they have been added on the same side, so our product will be, I will write the product here, so you can make it something like this. Okay, so both the OH they add on the same side, so OH and H, so that will be your product. It is called syn addition and we will get a cis product. It is a cis product. Why it is a cis product? Because both OH groups they are on the same side, either they will be up the plane or they will be down the plane, so that is a syn addition. Similarly, let us do the mechanism with the manganate permanganate ion. The mechanism is exactly same as I have already told you. Both of these reagents they react similarly. O negative, this is permanganate reagent, so this goes here, this goes here and this comes here. It is a concerted step and we get now permanganate ester. So this is called manganate ester, that is your product, and upon reaction with some alkali, so it gives us our desired diol, vicinal diol, plus we also get precipitates of MnO2, and similar to osmium tetroxide, this is also a syn addition, so the reaction takes place in syn fashion. It is a syn addition and we will get the cis product. Now let us try to see, let us try to understand this with the example of cyclohexene. If we add your MnO4 negative and OH negative, so you can say KMnO4 and OH negative. As I have told you, it is a syn addition, so the mechanism is this. So both the OH groups they will be on the same side, either they will be up the plane or they will be down the plane, and plus we have these two hydrogens, so we basically get a cis product. So that's why this reaction is a stereo specific reaction. So you have to remember the hydroxylation of alkanes with osmium tetroxide and your KMnO4 is that it takes place through syn fashion. The addition is syn and the product will be cis product. Now let us move to our second method by which we can synthesize these diols. It is hydrolysis of epoxides. So first let us see what are epoxides. So these type of compounds, cyclic ether, three-membered cyclic ether is called epoxide. So upon hydrolysis they generate your diols. Now let us try to understand this with the mechanism. First let me write the reaction. So ethylene glycol plus water under acidic condition, this is called acidic hydrolysis of epoxide. So it will generate your this type of alcohol and the reaction takes place through anti-addition. So this is called anti-addition and we will get a trans product. So that we will learn when we will discuss its mechanism. Now let us quickly discuss its mechanism, how this product has been formed. So this mechanism is actually quite easy. The first step is protonation of epoxide, as we are using acid catalyst. So this plus H positive, so it gives you OH positive. So second step is addition of water. Now water cannot add from this side, in from the side of OH. So water will prefer to attack from the opposite direction of this OH group, because that position is occupied. So if this is water, so it will attack from here, so it will boom. So it is a ring opening step. As you can say, the ring is being opened now, and this water, it attacks from the opposite side of this already present OH group. So what we get this OH and this OH2 positive. The third step is quite simple: loss of proton. So this compound OH, this your OH H positive, it loses a proton, minus H positive, and you get this diol, and this is a trans product. And we can say the addition is anti one. These two OH groups, they attack on the opposite phases of this epoxide, ethylene oxide. This is also called ethylene oxide, or we can call it epoxide. So this is the mechanism. It is quite easy mechanism. So first step, protonation. So protonation occurs at this oxygen. Second is addition of water. So it is a ring opening step, and this water, it attacks from the opposite side of the OH group. So that's why we will get we have anti addition, or we can say we will get a trans product. Now these epoxides, they are generated from alkenes. So these alkenes, upon reaction with the per acids C6H5COOH, this is a per acid. This is called per benzoic acid, or we can have per formic acid. So this gives you your epoxide. So that is how you can generate this epoxide. So as you can see, from alkene, if we want to prepare a cis product, then we can directly do its hydroxylation with KMnO4 or osmium tetroxide. Or if we want to produce a trans product, or we want to have an anti addition, then first we will convert this alkene to epoxide by reaction with per acid. Per benzoic acid can be used. Now this, upon hydrolysis, this epoxide upon acidic hydrolysis, it will yield a trans product. So this is also a stereospecific reaction in which trans products, they are obtained. Now let us try to see its stereochemistry. Now suppose we have this epoxide. Yes. Now suppose this is your epoxide. If we do its hydrolysis, water and the H positive, then the product that we will get is, yeah, this OH will come here. So I have, yes, and in this the OH will be here. So this will be H, this will be H. So we will get a trans product. Why we get the trans products? Because if we do its mechanism, first is protonation. So protonation leads to this product OH positive. Now water will attack, it will attack from the opposite side. So we get this OH H OH2 positive. Next is loss of proton, minus proton, and we get this trans product H and this OH H. So overall this is anti addition. And how to get this? This can easily be obtained from cyclopentene. If we react cyclo pentene with your per acid is C6H5COOH per benzoic acid, then we will get this epoxide. So from this you can have your trans product. So its stereochemistry is opposite to the hydroxylation reaction. So that is the importance and important comparison between these two steps of synthesizing glycols or diols. In simple hydroxylation of alkenes with osmium tetroxide and KMnO4 under alkaline condition, we get a syn addition and product is cis. But if we do hydrolysis of epoxide, then the product is trans, and the reason is now this nucleophile what it has to attack from a opposite side of the already present opposite group. So that's why these two OH groups, they are opposite to one another. So these are very two important reaction to synthesize your ethylene glycol. So now let us move to next reaction. Now next reaction is as name suggests, hydrolysis of dihaloalkanes. Dihalo means that we will have two halogens. We know that if we have some alkyl halide RX, if we add KOH aqueous, then we get alcohols ROH. This is alkyl halide. So we have used this method. Now suppose if we have two halogens in the same compound and we do its aqueous hydrolysis, we will get a diol. So that is what hydrolysis of dihaloalkanes. Now suppose we have this CH2CH2Br. So it is a dihalo compound. Two halogens are present, and the reagent we can even use sodium carbonate and water for this aqueous hydrolysis. This is called aqueous hydrolysis, and we get your ethylene glycol. This is a basic nucleophilic substitution reaction plus 2NaBr and plus carbon dioxide. So this is our product. So this reaction, the basis of this reaction is the reaction of alkyl halides with aqueous KOH to give you alcohols. Now if we have two halogens in the same compound, then we can also use aqueous KOH, but this is more easily used sodium carbonate and water. That will give you ethylene glycol plus sodium bromide plus carbon dioxide. So this is very simple reaction. It is a nucleophilic substitution reaction in which these halogens, they have been replaced by OH group. But now as we needed to produce two OH groups, so we have chosen our reactants such that contains already two halogen groups. So that is how you plan by a simple basic knowledge of various reactions of alkyl halides or many other reactions. We can plan according to our requirements. So now we needed two OH groups, so we have started that reactant which already contained two halogens. Next reaction is a bimolecular reduction of carbonyl compounds. So that is also very easy reaction. So suppose we have some acetone. Now if we add magnesium and benzene, magnesium in some inert solvent, we can't use water because magnesium is reacts violently with water, or we can have magnesium mercury amalgam, then we can use water, either this or this. So these conditions, what they form, first we get CH3C CH3O negative, CH3O negative. Now if we do its hydrolysis, acidic hydrolysis, then we get a diol. So this is called and here we have magnesium 2 positive. This is called bimolecular reduction of carbonyl compounds. We get diols. So this is very simple reaction. Now let us try to understand its mechanism. Actually mechanism is quite easy. Now suppose we have two acetone. If we add magnesium, magnesium gives magnesium 2 positive plus 2 electrons. Now if we add 2 electrons, 1 electron per molecule, so what will happen? I will write here for one molecule COCH3. Now this is similar to Bovet blank step. If we add electron, so what we will get? CH3C O negative radical at carbon CH3. Similarly here what we will get? We get two acetone molecule and have two electron, so they will form two CH3C O negative CH3. This radical ion, this is called radical anion. Two radical anions are obtained, so they combine with oneself. We have this radical of these two molecules of same radical, so what they will combine. So I will show here CH3C CH3 O negative radical plus another radical CH3 CH3 O negative. So they combine with one another. So these two radicals they combine with one another. So this carbon carbon bond formation takes place. CH3 CH3 CH3. So it is quite easy. So O negative O negative. Now upon hydrolysis H positive and water, we get this diol CH3C CH3OH. This is also called pinacol. So we have to do one very important reaction, pinacolone rearrangement, where we will do reaction with this compound. So that is diol, how a bimolecular reduction of a carbonyl compound in the presence of magnesium using some inert solvent can lead to the formation of a diol. Or we can, instead of magnesium, we can have its amalgam, magnesium mercury amalgam, which is alloy of mercury. Then we can do this reaction in water. So basically the electrons are transferred from magnesium and we get a radical anion which combine to give you this anion, which abstract a proton to give you diol. Our main purpose was to obtain diol, and this reaction is called bimolecular reduction because this bond, it has been reduced. OH addition of hydrogen has taken place, so that's why it is a reduction reaction. So we have already done that. These ketones, they upon reduction they form alcohols. So that was the reaction, so it was quite easy. Now let us move to next reaction, then that is reduction of dicarbonyl compounds. Now the basis of this reaction is, suppose we have any carbonyl compound, if we do its reduction, suppose catalytic reduction, then what we will get, RCHOH R. Now suppose if we have two carbonyl group in the same compound, and if we do its reduction, then we will get a diol. So that is reduction of dicarbonyl compound. Suppose we have this compound, I am writing any hypothetical compound. Suppose we have this compound, and if we do its reduction H2 and in the presence of nickel, so these carbonyl groups, they will be reduced. Even we can use your lithium aluminum hydride and sodium borohydride to reduce this. So CHOHCH3. So you can see we have obtained a diol. Similarly, CH3 C double bond O C double bond O CH3 hydrogen and nickel, these two bonds will be reduced. CH3 CHOH CHOH CH3. So that is how you can get a diol by reduction of dicarbonyl compound, because carbonyl compound upon reduction they form alcohols. We need two alcohols, so that's why we have used dicarbonyl compound. So that is how you can plan your synthesis. All of these reactions we have already discussed. Now we are just modifying it for our requirement. Next reaction is the reaction of diketones with Grignard reagent. So suppose we have some ketone. If we react it with some Grignard reagent, water H positive, then you all know that we will get a alcohol, COHR R dash. This you have done many times, reaction of Grignard reagent with carbonyl compounds. So suppose we have a diketone, we have this sort of compound, C double bond O C double bond O CH3. Now suppose we react with 2 R dash MgX. Now instead of 1 mole we use 2 mole, because for 1 carbonyl we need 1 mole of Grignard reagent, for 2 carbonyls we need 2, then water H positive, so it will give you CH3 COH COH CH3 R dash R dash. So that is your diol. So that is also how we can use this method to obtain diols, because Grignard reagent they react with carbonyl compounds to give you alcohol. So I have already prepared a lecture on reaction of Grignard reagent with aldehyde and ketones. So I have kept that link in the description section of this video, so you can go there. I have make a detailed lecture on organometallic reagents, how they can be used to synthesize alcohols from your carbonyl compound. So please see that lecture for the mechanism of this step and some other information that I have provided there. So that was all. That was some methods for synthesis of diols, and from all these methods the most important methods are hydrolysis of epoxides and hydroxylation of alkenes with osmium tetroxide or KMnO4 in alkaline solution, which is called Bayer's reagent. Bayer's reagent and osmium tetroxide, they give syn hydroxylation, whereas epoxides, they undergo anti hydroxylation reaction. Now let us discuss about physical property. When we discuss about physical property, we discuss about their physical state. This ethylene glycol or they glycol, they are viscous liquids, and they have sweet in taste. It is highly prohibited that we should not taste any organic compound in the laboratory, but their taste is reported to be sweet. Even our glucose, which contains which is C6H12O6, which is a polyol that also contains OH group, so it is sweet, similar to that, but now it is a viscous liquid. These glycols, they are viscous liquids, they are sweet in taste, and they are viscous like honey. Second physical property is solubility. So as these molecules contains two OH groups, and our OH group is hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means water loving, that we have discussed in physical property of alcohol. So these are soluble in water. These are freely soluble in water because of presence of these OH groups, which makes a hydrogen bonding with water. So that's why these diols, they are soluble in water, freely soluble in water. And third and most important is the boiling point. These molecules, they generally have high boiling point. These are high boiling liquids, high boiling point. The reason for their high boiling point is they have two OH groups, and as OH groups, they are involved in hydrogen bonding, so they have high extent of intermolecular hydrogen bonding. This intermolecular hydrogen bonding means hydrogen bonding between two molecules that leads to high boiling point. So this we have already discussed, how hydrogen bonding, it affects boiling point in case of alcohols. Now these diols, they have two OH groups, so if they have two OH groups, their extent of hydrogen bonding will be high. If extent of hydrogen bonding will be high, then these molecules will have higher intermolecular forces of attractions, and these forces are because of hydrogen bond. So that's why these compounds, they have very high boiling point, and those diols which are solids, they have high melting point. And one thing more, the mixture of water and ethylene glycol, it is used as a freezing mixture. Please remember it, it is a question of general knowledge. Freezing mixture, so the mixture, it freezes at very low temperature, so it can be used as a freezing mixture, water plus ethylene glycol, and it is highly used in chillers, which are used to chill water. So that was all for today. Today we discussed nomenclature, introduction, nomenclature, physical properties, and method of synthesis of dihydric alcohols. Basically we are more worried about glycols, and glycols are vicinal diols. Now in the next lecture we will discuss about their chemical properties. That is very very important, and from that a very important reaction is there, pinacol, pinacolone rearrangement, that we will discuss in detail. So thank you very much, but please don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you very much.